from PRX.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and friends beyond the binary, it's time for the podcaster that's going to be going over and over and over things again, intro after intro after intro. This is what we put out on long weekends here in the U.S. and holidays. It's a collection of intros, so it'll be even stranger than a normal episode because of my non-normalness, which I've leaned into and which I'm proud of now, will be on display so that you don't even have to pay attention to it. So this is a collection of all intros. If you really love all intros, they come out on long weekends or holidays. And then $10 patrons get them their own episodes, exclusive all intro episodes, twice a month. So if you're interested in that, check it out. But yeah, I also want to let you know that this podcast is here for you right now because I know it's the start of school and there's a lot of changes and it's not an easy time for anybody. So this podcast is here for you if you just need a little break. Just like I can't fix things at night, I can only be there to keep you company. If you need a little mental break during the day, go ahead and kick on the episode for a little while. Or if someone's zooming in the other room and you just need a little distraction, do that. But if you need to take extra steps to take care of yourself, there's going to be links for organizations to help you with self-care and mental health right now, and to support the Black members of our community because Black Lives Matter. All those links will be in the show notes, and you can check them out there. And before we, and don't forget that these are the ways we're able to bring this podcast twice a week for free. Thanks. Hey everybody, this is Scooter, and I just was wondering if you're one of those people that listens to the podcast on a regular basis. You're a real fan of the show, you rely on it, whatever it is. So is that a question? Yes, you say maybe, or I'm new. Just don't even listen if you're new. Are you in a position to support one of the sponsors or support the podcast? Is that a yes or no? Think about that, yes or no. And if both those are yes, I just ask, would you consider either supporting a sponsor and letting them know about it, letting me know about it, or becoming a patron, paying for a free podcast, becoming a member of our Patreon? You do get some pretty sweet benefits. $10 and up patrons get two exclusive all intro episodes a month. They get our exclusive Otter Things, Behind the Otter Things series. $20 patrons get a birthday message on their birthday. So some cool things, but it's really about, say, well, geez, I get so much value out of the show. I want to give some value back. $5 and up patrons get ad-free episodes. That might be another reason you say, well, I just want to skip all these messages, Scoots. I don't want to hear the jingles. I don't want to hear you talking about this stuff. I say, yeah, sure. That's a great way to do it. It's a pretty good deal for all that new stuff. You get some story-only episodes too. So think about it. If you're in a position to do so, if you're you get enough out of the show, you really like the podcast, or you rely on it, or you listen to like 8 episodes a week or a night. And if you want to, and here's the thing, here's what the best part is, it's just you. Like, I only need 1 out of 100 people who are hearing this to go out there and spread the word about a sponsor or support the show. And the podcast could be there for all those other 99 people. So it's like, oh, geez, if I do that one thing, if I'm that one person out of 100, then I'm helping all these other people too. So think about it. Are you that one person? Thanks so much. You could go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, become a patron, or you can find out more on our website about our sponsors too, or in the show notes. Thanks. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about Helix, the amazing mattress that I sleep on every single night. Helix has this amazing online quiz. It takes 2 minutes to fill out. It matches your body type and your sleep preferences to find the perfect mattress for you, or the perfect mattress for you and your partner. Helix makes personalized mattresses right here in America. They're shipped straight to your door with free, no-contact delivery, free returns, and a 100-night sleep trial. And they have something for everybody. So if you like a mattress that's really soft or really firm, if you sleep on your side and your stomach like I do, or maybe you sleep on your back, or do you sleep hot like Scoots? With Helix, there's a specific mattress for each and everybody's unique taste. And I put all of that into the quiz, and I got matched up with the Helix Dusk. And the thing is just amazing. I mean, think about the bed you're in right now, and how nice would it be to upgrade? You're going to be like me, cozy, getting getting in there. Even when I wake up, I say, okay, let me move over to this other side of the bed. Oh boy, now I can burrow back in there. You don't have to take my word for it. Not only are there thousands and thousands of satisfied Helix customers out there, there's multiple friends and family members of mine that, especially during this current time with more time at home, have invested in an amazing Helix mattress. And the key is that quiz, because, you just don't say, oh, well, it's the same bed as you. No, it's a custom mattress suited for your needs. Helix was awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2020 by GQ, Wired Magazine, and Apartment Therapy. So just go to helix.com/sleep and take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that'll give you the best sleep of your life. Right, Mystery Bard?
Just go to helixsleep.com/sleep. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz. The customized mattress will give you the best sleep of your life. And you'll be saying, gee whiz, Helix.
They have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. And they'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but believe me, you will. So I'm going to say that again. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/sleep. That's Helix, HELIX, sleep.com/sleep for up to $200 off. Thanks, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and friends beyond the binary. It's time, oh boy, so it's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone. I was in the wrong spot at the wrong time. I'm sorry, listeners. This is the loudest part of the show where I thank the people who supported the sponsors so I could keep bringing the show to you twice a week. I want to thank Megan, Lindsay, and Kate, who all supported Brooklinen. Lindsay got some sheets and some loungewear. Kate got a cozy Morningside dress, and Megan got some buttery smooth sheets. If you support Brooklinen or another sponsor, let me know. Tag them, tag me, like Megan, Lindsay, and Kate. Let me know, did you get some towels? What did you get? Did you support Brooklinen? Did you sign up for Grove? Holy moly, Plushcare. Let me know. Tag the sponsor, tag me, so I could thank you here in the Sleepy Supporter Zone, like Megan, Lindsay, and Kate. Thank you. That's the first part of Sleepy Supporter Zone. The second part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need. So if you're having a tough time right now, there's links to organizations in the show notes. If you want to confront change and be a part of the solution in our society right now, in our world, and take steps, take action to show that Black Lives Matter, there's links to organizations in the show notes. And the third part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is something I support. And you know what? Right now, I just got to say, it's not okay. And I'm supporting Jacob Blake and Jacob Blake's family and the Milwaukee Freedom Fund, where people are letting their voices be heard and say, this just can't happen. And if you want to support Jacob Blake and Jacob Blake's family or the Milwaukee Freedom Fund, there'll be links in the show notes. And that is the end of the Sleepy Supporter Zone, which is now over. Oh, Mystery Bard, a lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Song sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Kenny, Scotty, and Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at us down there on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. We're raising money for the Water Wheel Foundation, and Scooter might get a perm.
Thanks, Mr. Bard. I'm at Dear Scooter on Twitter. That's where you can find on Instagram, too, I think. Dearest with a T, because I say that fast, like Dear Scooter. It's Dearest, but it's a silent, when I say it, it's a silent T, I guess, technically. But what do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, changes in time or temperature, routine, whatever's keeping you awake. I'm going to try to distract you from that. And the way I'm going to do it is I get this nice safe place set up for you. I've set the place is set, and I'm setting the place. And I'm smoothing it, I'm patting it, I'm rubbing it down, I'm saying safe place. And what I propose to do is to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents, silly behavior. I'll be behaving sillily. When was the last time we talked about silly string? I'm not sure. I don't know if I have talked. We'll talk. Maybe we'll talk about that. But in this show, there's no strings attached, except for when I pretend I'm our friend with the Pinocchio, and then I say, I got no strings to hold me down. And I don't know. In the context of a sleep podcast, I was hoping a metaphor would make itself apparent, but whether you're made of wood or, you're organic. You say, Scoots, wood is organic. Well, would you like to get a good night's sleep? Because I believe you deserve a good night's sleep. That's why I make this show. Now, if you're new, a couple things to know. It doesn't work for everybody. And so for some people, it works on the first try. For majority of listeners, it takes 2 or 3 tries. Because, of course, you're skeptical. And then, of course, you're approaching and you're saying, what is this? What is this person talking about? They were trying to make a point about Pinocchio. They were talking about silly string. They kind of change it. They don't make a lot of sense. There's creaky dulcets and aforementioned pointless meanders. I think his vocabulary, it just needs some tuning. He has a vocabulary. But I don't know if his usage of the vocabulary. And I say, yes, correct. Welcome. So give it a few tries. See how it goes. Maybe if you're comfortable, just kick back and observe, the podcast like the sky or like, a gently flowing river. You say, oh, I see that leaf there floating in the river. Oh, there's a bubble. Oh, yeah, look at it flowing around that rock. If that's a way to consume it. But you could consume it however you wish. Just if you're new, just see how it goes. I really do want to help it, and I wish this podcast worked for everybody. I mean, as a matter of fact, I wish for me and everyone else in the world, I could just do something as simply as say, hey, you really deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve to be treated with dignity and respect all day long and at bedtime. You deserve some comforts. And now, through a magical process, that it's just, I'm going to count down from 10 and you'll be asleep. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you'd be asleep. That would be excellent. It would be efficient for everyone involved. And I guess I wouldn't be super efficient for me is the fact I would only have to do it once, but then you'd say, well, Scoots, that's it. We don't need to listen. I'd say, okay, well, then I don't get to make my silly stories. But unfortunately, I found what I need at bedtime is a friend, is some comfort. And I also need, even if it's not a bedtime routine, it's something to make bedtime feel good, or at least less of a rigmarole, less of a hassle, less serious. And that's my goal with the show if you're new. And you say, okay, I get it now. Or say, well, I prefer something a little bit more, whatever. You could choose. So that's one thing. If you're new, structurally what to expect. The show starts off with a few minutes of business. That's how we keep the show free. Over 300 old episodes free. And so that's, then there's the intro, which we're maybe halfway through. The intros are about 12 minutes of me trying to explain what the podcast is, make a metaphor about the podcast, go off topic, earn your trust, make you feel comfortable, maybe make you laugh or put a smile on your face. And it's a show within a show. Some people fall asleep during the intro. Lots of people just use it as their wind down or as they're getting ready for bed. Some people skip the intros. More and more people I hear listen to the intro during the day or the whole show because it's just part of, they say, well, I need a break during the day. So however you use it, the intro is kind of just a way, it's just a familiar friend or a new friend if you'd consider that, or a new associate. Let's just start there. Maybe I could apply to be your bore associate or your assistant borer, assistant to the borer. Okay, what the boring part of my brain just said. Assistant luller, assistant to the luller. Okay. I'll get those applications in. You know how I am with getting paperwork done right away. Yeah, but I could. How about I assist you via lulls and boredom? So that's the intro. Then there's some business tucked in between the intro and the show. Then tonight we'll be talking about The Good Place. What a good place to sleep. We'll be talking about episode 4 of The Good Place, but mostly in a way of saying, hey, what was written on that chalkboard? Who is that person? Or what was it going on at that time? Or where do you purchase something like that? So kind of an indirect, here's the thing. A Good Place episode's 23 minutes long. I'll be talking about the episode for about 44 minutes. Now, some of that will be facts that came up in the episode. But you see, you're talking about episode of Good Place, The Good Place in a halftime. I say about, it sounds about right. I mean, in fact, it's a little bit different because sometimes I'll pause it and then, spend 30 minutes saying, what does that say? Or what is that up there? What books are on that bookshelf? So that's what we'll do. It'll be very lulling and soothing and ideally comforting. Then we have some thank yous at the end. So that's a structure of show. This is a podcast you don't need to listen to. You can. I'll be here for an hour giving it my all to keep you company. But you don't have to listen. There's no pressure. Ideally, it's just distracting enough to take your mind off of stuff. But not so interesting that you got to say, well, I really need to hear about Scoots' thoughts about Cheety's tie this week. Especially, considering Scoots' fashion sense or, tie shape. Yeah, that's not something I'll probably be talking about this week. But at some point I may say, well, what about the shapes? Is that some sort of subtextual? No. They just got a hold of me from my brain. They said, of course not. And I'd say, well, it is a layer of the show and the stories. It is important to me. Okay, well, we don't need to argue about this in front of the new list. Okay, you're right. Well, it's not an argument. I was just discussing. I was saying I like looking at how the characters are dressed. Oh, so do I. Like when there is, Eleanor has a lot of different types of light on her shirts this season or her outfits. Like lightning bolts and suns and moons, but I don't think it's universal. So kind of a theme, maybe, possibly. Okay, so that'll be the discussion of The Good Place. Where was I? I think I got lost in one of my own thoughts. I was explaining about the structure. Oh, how you don't need to listen to it. Okay, so yeah. Clearly you can kind of listen to me. But if you need to listen, if you need a friend in the deep, dark night, I'm here. I'm here for a full 60 minutes. You could queue up another episode if you need it. If you can't sleep and you just need a companion, an assistant to the luller, I'll be here assisting with the lulls and the pointless meanders. So you don't need to listen, but there's also no pressure to fall asleep, kind of for the reasons I just said. I'm here to keep you company. You fall asleep when you're ready to, or as you drift off, just naturally, slowly drift away. I think that's it. I guess I'll have to talk about Silly String another time, because, it's like I think it's like seasonal thing, like around Halloween. I think parents just call it annoying unless you're at a public park. And then public park people, maintenance people they say annoying string, you should call it. I mean, maybe one day it'll be biodegradable or something, or like new, we'll say what's filled with organic ingredients. Compost, how about that? Silly compost string. Yeah, say it's pasteurized. It's a spray foam that sprays out in a string. I don't know, like the silly thing about it is it's in an aerosol type can. And it is pretty silly because most of the time people are chasing each other around, spraying one another. I don't know if it's exactly it is a little bit addictive. So you say, well, how much is a can? Well, you probably wait till like 2 weeks after Halloween to see if you can get it for like 40 cents or something. But yeah, it's a product. See, for some reason it's neon and stuff, but I think but people sell it around Halloween, or I've always associated it with Halloween. You'd think New Year's Eve would be the best time, but maybe we could get it into like the harvest or what about as part of the spring season and the harvest season? Silly compost string. It's a silly string, but it's also compost, made from compost. We could say, just general, it doesn't have to be that kind of compost, newsprint and coffee grounds or something. And you can go outside, spray it around. Farmers we could have we could get into some druid type action. You'd say, come to my fields and spray one another with, also you got to buy it from me. So another revenue source for these farmers. You'd say, have you gone picking your blueberries or your apples? Now it's time, now the picking season's over. Now it's time for silly, the field spray. We'll think of a marketing thing for it. And people could just run, you could charge $1 a can or whatever, 50 cents a can. You could do that seasonally. Start off $5 a can at the height of the season. And as it winds down, keep lowering the price. Also, I have to get all of it for free, just so you know. And you could have people running around, and you could have spraying one another with silly, just an idea. But hopefully tonight, it's more of a mist of thoughts and friendly banter that you can drift into and slowly slip away. So I'm here to help. I really appreciate you checking the show out and coming by. And I work very hard and I strive and I earn to help you fall asleep. Thanks so much. And here's a few ways we keep the show going. With everything that's going on, a lot of us are feeling anxious or stressed or depressed. And I know it can be hard to find a doctor to talk to, especially now. And that's why I recommend Plushcare. Plushcare knows your mental health is just as important as your physical health. Their primary care physicians are here for you 7 days a week to help you start feeling better as soon as possible. In addition to being primary care physicians who handle ongoing and urgent care, they can also treat a wide range of common mental health issues like anxiety, depression, stress, or even trouble sleeping. So if you're feeling down, worried, or not like yourself, you can book a same-day appointment and see a Plushcare doctor right from the comfort of your home using your phone or your computer. They'll discuss treatment options with you and have your prescription sent to your local pharmacy as needed. Plushcare accepts most insurance carriers and is available in all 50 states. And Plushcare makes it easier than ever to take care of yourself inside and out. Start your membership today. Go to plushcare.com/sleep to start your free 30-day trial. That's plushcare.com/sleep for a free 30-day trial. It's a free 30-day trial at plushcare.com/sleep. And let me know. Thank you so much. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about our newest sponsor, Sweaty Betty. Now, I know a lot of us have been wearing comfortable clothes around the house when we go to work online, but my daughter just got a pair of power leggings from Sweaty Betty. She said they are the most comfortable workout pants she has ever owned, and she's a teenager, so that is a very, very high praise. She also was blown away by the selection of prints, but it's really the fabric, the material, and the feel. I mean, you have to see these fun prints. We had such a good time looking through them, saying, which pair would we get? And of course, I'm jealous. I have Sweaty Betty FOMO. For over 20 years, Sweaty Betty's 5-star rated power leggings have helped women crush their workouts. Because no other athletic brand can compete with the Sweaty Betty Power Leggings' expertly placed seams and squat-tested compression fabric. I mean, the mission of the company is to empower women through fitness to feel their best. Quick-drying and pocket-equipped, these leggings are high-waisted performers. Take their quiz at sweatybetty.com to find your perfect style and choose from a wide selection of strategically cut patterns. And again, you got to see these fun prints. And I'm going to reach down right now. I have a pair of Sweaty Betty leggings in my hands. I don't think I wish I was wearing these myself. The fabrics are the best in market. As I said, they feel amazing and they look great too. Sweaty Betty's power leggings have opaque fabric, adjustable drawstring waist, back and side pockets that are able to combine the ability to stay active, to feel good, and to feel good about how you look. You say, oh boy, do I look at, cover your ears, SEXY, and these, gives me even more FOMO. From London to LA, over 500,000 happy bums count on Sweaty Betty to help them look and feel incredible. Now, this is a limited time offer, so now through November 1st, you can get 20% off your entire purchase when you visit sweatybetty.com/sleep. That's only till November 1st, and this is the best offer Sweaty Betty has available anywhere. So do not wait, because you deserve to look amazing before, during, and after your workout. Get 20% off your entire purchase at sweatybetty.com/sleep. Now, that's only till November 1st, and it's spelled sweatybetty.com/sleep. Get over there. And then as soon as you get your leggings, as soon as you order them, tag me, tag Sweaty Betty. Let me know what print you got, what cut did you get. So anyway, sweatybetty.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it the bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, time, temperature, travel, whatever's keeping you awake. I'd like to take your mind off that. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders, tangents, like superfluous tangents, extra words. I'm going to go off topic, but really what I'm trying to do is keep you company, to be your friend, and to say, hey, listen to this story, listen to my rambles. I want to give you something that's kind of barely nicer to listen to than whatever's keeping you awake at night. Kind of like the pattering of rain on the window. When the pattering of rain on the window is nice, it's nice. But then there's other times where you say, what's up with the rain? I got practice, or I got to go somewhere, or my socks are already wet. But there are times, when that pattering's just right, or maybe not. Maybe we romanticized pattering. Maybe I'll come back to that. I know I like to talk about pattering every once in a while. But first, let me get to you new listeners. If you're new, I'm glad you're here. Let me give you the structure and what to expect. So this podcast is a really different. It's goofy. It's counterintuitive, and it involves a lot of me talking and circular logic and over talking. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So if you kick back and you kind of listen loosely and you give it a few tries, that's like over the millions and millions and millions of listens and people I've heard from is kind of seems like give it a few tries and see how it goes. But I hope it helps you fall asleep. I make the show because I believe you deserve a good night's sleep. Structurally, what to expect. The show starts off with business. That's how we keep the show free and going and cover some of our costs. And then there's an intro, which we're kind of like 2 minutes into. The intros are usually about 12 minutes or so. And they're a show within a show. And a lot of the long-term listeners fall asleep during the intro or get ready for bed during the intro. And they're a big fan of it. It's kind of a show within a show, a friendly monologue where I demonstrate my inability to get to the point. I say, okay, the point of the intro is to introduce the podcast. And that takes me 12 minutes. I think maybe you're catching on. But it's really just to say, hey, this is a safe place that's here to help you. Hopefully I become a familiar friend that's sitting there across the room. Your boar friend, your boar bud, your boar bae, your boar bestie, your boar bud, your boar bra, your boar sib, whatever it is. I'm here to help. So that's the intro. Then tonight we'll be talking about Star Trek The Next Generation in a kind of indirect and meandering way. I'll kind of do a little bit of a recap. I'll look up some stuff that came up in the episode and, say, who was that actress? Or what did that word mean? And a lot of times I'll be reading my notes because I watch the episode usually like 3 or 4 or 5 times. Star Trek, I watch it a little bit more, and then I'll take a lot of notes and I'll try to read off my notes. So we'll be talking about that, and ideally it's just interesting enough to, like I said, take your mind off stuff, but not interesting enough to really grip or engage you. And if you're not familiar with Star Trek, it'll barely resemble Star Trek. So that's a positive. But if you love Star Trek, you'll say, oh, wait, I kind of remember that. But Scoots is still talking about Reg Barkley. And he doesn't know, his Heisenberg compensator from his, rear. So even I can drift off. But I'm also here all the way to the end because there are listeners that can't fall asleep. So I'm here to keep you company whether you're awake or asleep. Whether you fall asleep in the first few minutes or you're here all the way to the very end. Or I'm here to help you. Some people listen 8 hours a night every night or they have it running. Some people wake up or some people are traveling. You can wait, whatever it is, I'm here to help. I think the other things are you don't really need to listen to me. You can just kind of barely pay attention. You can pay attention or you can lower the volume. So I'm just murmuring, whatever works for you. But I also don't want you to feel any pressure to fall asleep because I want you to take your time. That's why shows are about an hour. It's just so you can fall asleep whenever you wish or as you drift off. Kind of like the pitter-pattering of rain, as I was saying. Like if you're listening to it, I don't know. I guess maybe we have we idealized the patter of rain? Rain patters. Rain matters. That's just something my brain just said to me. He said, what are you, like a rain sloganeer? I mean, I do remember, I don't know if this was years ago or like in the last 6 to 12 months. And but I will check in with listeners that have new pets or are thinking about getting a pet is to encourage you, if you're getting 2 pets at the same time, please consider calling them Pitter and Patter, especially if they're like, because I had gerbils. I had gerbils. As a young boy, I had a gerbil, and my brother Carl had a gerbil. We did not name them Pitter and Patter. We named them Chitter and Squeaker. But I think Pitter and Patter, or like two dogs, I don't know. And then, like I said, with dogs, I think I've gone through this. Maybe they would pitter and patter when you call them. So that's a recommendation. But I was thinking about, I don't know, can you romanticize rain? Should that be a book I write in the next 180 years? Well, there could be a different books. Romantic Rain. Oh, boy, I just thought of one. Then we could do a romance, romantic Rain, Reign. My Days with the Khaleesi would not be what it would be subtitled, but maybe we could, maybe Jon Snow, maybe what Tyrion would more, and then there's romanticized Rain. There could be one with, like, because I know on a lot of, when I was a librarian, we would get a lot, romances were popular. And there's different Harlequin series or styles of Harlequin books. And some were outdoors. So there could be romantic Maine and romantic. We could have Mane. Then you could have Maine, like we met at a water main break. Holy cow, that's where it all started. Romantic Maine. And then also a time, but that could be an ongoing series, maybe Romantic Maine, Maine, the state of Maine. I don't know. Is the Hallmark Channel taking submissions? Because I already submitted my idea for the Happy Christmas Shop, which I'll be doing the holiday season, serial series about that. But what about that? I could do a series called Romantic Maine, and it could be episodic, like very similar to those episodic shows of the 80s and the 90s, where it's a town in Maine. And it's only bed and breakfast. You get it. Maybe that would, like, you get into town and you say, well, there's nothing here but bed and breakfast. Only romance in Romantic Maine. I mean, or it could be an ironic title, of course. I hear Fraser's getting rebooted. So maybe I could write some fan fiction, Romantic Cane. And also maybe candy cane, maybe like at a candy cane factory. I thought I was going to talk about rain, but we're thinking about using romantic in words that rhyme with rain. Romantic Crane, a story of two the true story of two bird watchers who fell in love and solved the mystery of the great whooping crane. I think could I do that as a fictionalized autobiography? I think that's probably the best one I've come up with so far. If it was true, we could probably submit it to Lauren and Phoebe on This Is Love, like Romantic Crane. I mean, I like the idea of two bird watchers in love, but I would prefer if it was like there was like a second subtitle where it linked to some sort of scientific breakthrough. Because you're just, I mean, I guess I'm big on double and triple subtitles to explain what I'm, so Romantic Crane, Romantic Rain. What about, here's another possible, if no one takes Romantic Maine, what about Romantic Rain? Like the idea, what if I'm like, what if there's like, maybe it could have some sort of supernatural element too, positive kind, where we bewitch a cloud, and wherever it rains, romance follows. Okay, Cupid just called me right in those 2 seconds there and said, no, that's my job. Don't mess. And they'd say, what if we team up? Cupid, what if I hire you, Cupid? You play yourself, and you shoot one of your heart arrows into the cloud. That could be the whole story. One day, you say, I'm sick of flying around with these wings. Also, I'm like a baby in a diaper. Sometimes it gets cold up there. Maybe we get you a nice warm fleece parka or something. And maybe you take a vacation. We could put you in a bathtub. You don't want a bath. You don't need, okay, don't act like you're in a diaper. It's just a suggestion. And you shoot the clouds, and then it's Romantic Rain. Think it's been done before. I don't think so. Romantic Rain in Maine. No, too many. Okay. Well, I'll get back to you. Are you open to that idea, though? Romantic Jane. I don't get it, Cupid. It's about a character named Jane. Okay, well, you could write that. Is it from, like, Jane's perspective? You don't know. Okay, well, that's great. Romantic Shane. Okay, this is actually a sleep podcast, believe it or not, Cupid. Thank you for coming by. Let me know on Romantic Rain. Oh, Romantic Blaine. Many romances of David Blaine. Okay, well, we need, that's, I think that's like both a real person and a brand. We'd have trouble with that. So you could write it because what are you, a demigod? Okay, you got to go. By the way, have you ever got any like orders for me? Because I never. Okay, I'm out. Thanks. I'll see you later. Thanks for your time, Cupid. So those are just a couple of things that popped in my head. Anyway, sorry, I went off topic there. But I hope this podcast is like maybe you just experienced it when I went off those tangents. Is a bit like the pattering of rain. You're kind of passively listening to it. Maybe it's triggering a neutral or positive response where you say, yeah, that's not so bad. Let me listen to that pattering, the pittering and the pattering. Now, if you have pets named Pitter and Patter, you don't want them pittering and pattering when you're trying to sleep. Oh, I think that's what I came up with on one intro was the patter method, because there's like, which is like to patter yourself a little bit. So maybe it's kind of like patting yourself, but you're imagining, like, so just go ahead and touch one of your shoulders and do a little pattering. 2 fingers, I think, is what we decided with pattering. And just, say, hey, it's a good job being human. And so that's kind of the intro. I guess that's a metaphor for the show. I'm not exactly sure how, but I think I demonstrated, and maybe I distracted you. But I'm here to help. I've been there in the deep, dark night. That's why I make this show. I appreciate you coming by. I work very hard, and I yearn and I strive to help you fall asleep. So let's see how it goes. And here's a couple ways we keep the show going. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, things you're thinking about that you'd probably maybe rather not be thinking about if you're similar to me. Feelings that could be associated to those thoughts, or they could just be feelings, remnants of the day. Maybe remnants is a good word. I don't know if I've used that in the podcast before, but I'm crossing my fingers to see if I'll remember a remembrance of remnant. It's also hard to say. But it could be feelings from today or from the past or the future. You say, well, I got that thing tomorrow. It could be physical sensations, but whatever's keeping you awake, I'd like to take your mind off of that, to distract you, to welcome you into this safe place, or, that it's where you are, to make it a little more comfortable, a little bit more safe. Here you go. I'm going to puff that and pat that and tuck that. I have the remnants of sleep dust here that I'm going to do. They're kind of, it's imaginary. That's why it's remnants. Sprinkle that around. Also forget what I was going to, I'm going to, I'm here to put you at ease, to take your mind off of stuff. What I'm going to do is send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents, us and ahs. You're right. Was that my Freudian brain that let you so slip? You say, yes, when Scoots has a Freudian slip, it's more like he's already like a Freudian spill. I think they call it in my case. He's like, what's that on the floor? Well, Scooter had another Freudian spill there, right out his mouth, drooled it right out of his mouth. It was an ah. What did Dr. Freud say about that Freudian spill of Scooters? He said a cigar is not a cigar. And then that was when we realized he was a Freud impersonator, because we said, well, that's a puddle of drool, Dr. Freud. And then Scooter said, rah, 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 or something. And we said, Dr. Freud, what do you have to say about that? And he said, and then Scooter said, you know what? I'm pretty sure I used to pretend, he said, I got to get back to a podcast intro, believe it or not, because I don't even know what I was saying. I was saying, I'm going to send my voice across the deep dark, lulling, soothing. Oh, I'm going to go off on tangents. That's what I was saying. Pointless meanders. I'm going to take your mind off of stuff. I'm going to be here. Let me tell you structurally, if you're new, what to expect. If I have any remnants of your attention, is show starts off with a few minutes of business. That's how we keep it show free, 300 episodes you could listen to in a row free. And that's only important for the regular listeners. So if you're new, don't worry about it. Then there's an intro, which we're maybe a few minutes into. Intros are around 12 minutes or so. And it's a show within a show, like kind of like a monologue, kind of like a trust building session. That's only remnants. Like if you were going to buy, I don't know if that's what remnants are. Like you say, I'm going to buy some of those, like that extra cloth you have that the kids were making cloth dolls out of. And then you hold it up, it's got all these different shapes cut out of it. I don't know. Honestly, that just popped in my brain. I'm holding it up. That's kind of like what my thoughts are like. And that's what the intros are like too, right? I try to explain what the podcast is, but I'm not working with a full bolt of fabric. To be honest, I couldn't string together a yard. It's a patchwork of remnants. The Scooter Story, an autobiography, his 54th autobiography, a patchwork of remnants. The tale of the podcaster who kept making up titles for autobiographies he never wrote. To try to create a metaphor about it in the introduction to the podcast. But the intro is kind of like different listeners use it different ways. I mean, the ideal way, I guess, or the main way is as part of your wind down routine. You say, well, I'm starting to get ready for bed. I hear Scoots. I know there's a bedtime story coming. I know this intro is not going to make a whole lot of sense. So I can brush my teeth, or maybe I just brush my teeth. I'm getting comfortable. Getting the airflow right, getting the bombing done, puffing those pillows. A little bit part of a bedtime routine. Yeah, I think I said that. But for some listeners, they skip the intro. Some listeners fall asleep during the intro. And it's not just the intro. Like more and more listeners I hear from, if you're having a rough day, you could tune in and you say, well, I was having a rough day. Let me see. Scoots makes this podcast almost every day. And he's made 700 of these intros. Let's see if, and they say, well, it's not easy for Scoots either. So that's the intro. Show within a show. You could skip it, or you could use it as part of your routine, or you could drift off. Then after that, we'll have a little bit of business. Then we're going to talk about The Good Place. And oh boy, are we going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the things I wrote, my handwriting when I was trying to take notes when I was watching it. We're going to talk about, believe it or don't blush when I say this, but we'll be talking about Cheaty's pecs, maybe. And I say, holy mackerel. But, even with Cheaty's pecs, I'll say, well, I'll try to, not say that he was in a sprinkler and then in a grocery store. I'll more say what was on the shelves of the grocery store. What brand of chili. So we'll be talking about stuff like that. You see, well, what is, here's something I haven't never paid attention to, and I apologize for this. What kind of footwear does Eleanor wear? Me, I got no idea. I would guess, I wouldn't want to guess. I mean, would it be Chuck Taylor's? Maybe not. I think she'd want a more comfortable footbed. She'd wear what she said, this is what feels good. And I don't know, maybe kids, I'm more thinking this is more figuratively, like what would be if Eleanor Shellstrop was, in existence and she said, okay, let's talk about what you want to wear. Sorry, I'm trying to explain what the podcast intro is. Maybe she'd wear shoes made from remnants. Maybe that could be a new thing. Remnants of sense. My story, who's a former treasurer of the United States or whatever, sign me up, or my journey to eliminate the penny, a remnants of sense, the Jean-Claude Coppa story. let's just pretend that Jean-Claude Coppa is trying to get rid of pennies. I don't know who's in charge, who's leading up that thing, but get in touch with me. I could write your title for your autobiography because I already did. Or it could be Jean-Anthony Lebec, my defense of the penny in a world that no longer appreciated or loved it. That one would need a second subtitle because for extra twist, because I think it would have to have a universal, what we lost when we lost the penny and how I saved it. The Jean-Claude Lebec story, a remnants of sense. Maybe we'll just go straight to Masterpiece Theater with that one. Has there ever been a Masterpiece Theater series about currency? Irrelevant currency. Okay, all the pennies in my drawers are weeping now. Anyway, I got to get through this intro. So I'll be talking about The Good Place at some point. And it'll be a meandering, it's a 22-minute show. I'll be talking about it for about 45 minutes. But also I'll look stuff up and try to read what's on, try to read signs and stuff like that. I'll be here. I'll be here to keep you company. So that's the structure. Show ends with some thank yous and some good nights. And if you're new, oh boy, thanks for sticking around. You got a sneak preview of what I'm going to be working hard on one day. I don't know, out of all my wacky ideas, they could actually, this is a serious thing, remind me of this. I think this penny thing has got legs, at least for a Sleep With Me episode. Okay, so that's your structure show. Here's a couple of other things. You don't need to listen to me. I'm going to be, this is a podcast you could kind of passively listen to, or you could turn it even down to a mumble. You could listen to it how you want, and you don't need to make sense of it. Clearly, it's 80% nonsense, and the remnants of it is not, also you know what I'm saying. You don't need to listen to me, but there's also no pressure to fall asleep. Here's the other deal. I'm going to be here till the very end, giving it my all, which in another circumstance would be grounds for, no longer working there, but for making a sleep podcast, me being here to the very end, or the very end. That was back when I applied to work for Strawberry Shortcake. And they said, we don't know what you were talking. You just went off on a tangent about, no, I said went off on a tangent about crossovers with the scratch and sniff stickers, Strawberry. No, you were talking about pennies. Oh, okay. Thanks, Professor Pepper or whatever, Baron Blueberry. I got to get, I got it. One too many tangents in this intro. Otherwise, this would be very excellent, very good. Okay, so I'll be here till the very end. If you can't sleep, I'm here to keep you company. But I'm also here to take your mind off stuff so you can fall asleep whenever you like. And I would posit that you say, well, maybe I wasn't following what Scoots was talking about, but I wasn't listening to my other thoughts either. That's the goal of the show. I'm here to be your friend in the deep, dark night and to keep you company with some inane banter. Or, slightly, you say, well, you say, actually, I've thought a lot about the penny in the past. And I say, most of the time I shrug my shoulders. I say, well, Penny, what are you going to do? I think even Penny, Penny, tell me about your fate. What do you think? Well, I don't, it's been a good run, but, they'll probably find us, I'll probably outlast you, Scoots. I say, oh boy, whoa. How'd I get the penny with an edge? There's another story I could write. That could be the other person in the penny. Maybe there's a penny, like a Polly, maybe we could get a Polly Penny thing going. Maybe we could get a Polly Pocket Penny edition going. But anyway, no need, no pressure to fall asleep. I'm going to be here to keep you company. The reason I make a show is because I've been there in the deep, dark night, tossing and turning. Lonely, to be honest. It's lonely, the lonely penny. Does anybody know how to, what about books like Encyclopedia Brown? I could do the Lonely Penny series. The penny, the penny that pouted. Maybe that would just be basic learning. Pout, Penny, pout. Penny, Penny, Penny. Okay, so that's the structure of the show. That's the rules around the show. I think the rest of the intro kind of demonstrated the sensibility of the show, which is silly, to kind of give you, to make bedtime less serious and less like a rigmarole. Maybe to barely put a smile on your face. So you maybe giggle a little bit, and then you wake up and you say, I don't know what Scoots was talking about. Maybe I think penny loafers. He got a new set of penny loafers. And then he had the great penny loafer sock debate. And then he had the idea of the way he dresses in penny loafers. And then he tried to return the penny loafers. Something, I don't know. It was great. I slept so good. So if you're new, and most listeners say this, give the show a few tries to see if it works for you. There's no pressure for you to like it, and it doesn't work for everybody. Though if I had a magic wand, or, if I had a magic penny, I did do an episode about a magic penny. No idea what it was about at this point, but I would give it to you if it was going to put you to sleep, if the podcast didn't work. But for all I can do, I can just be here and do this show, and you can see if it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, try some LibriVox. There's great international fairy tales on there. That's just one recommendation I have. But I hope it does, because I work very hard. I strive and I yearn to help you fall asleep. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming by. And here's a few ways we keep this show going. Hey, are you up all night, tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, time, temperature, changes. You work the second shift, the third shift, you're on a work trip, someone else is on a work trip. Whatever's keeping you awake, I'd like to help with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm trying to create a safe place. I'm trying to smooth it and pat it and rub it down and say safe place, just like I was in, Motown Philly Harmony or something. And I'm going to pat this safe place. See, look at how nice it is. I'm going to send my voice across the deep dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky dulcet tones, pointless meanders, creaky, rustified tangents, superfluous words, unresolved metaphors, friendly banter. I'm going to keep you company. And the way I'm going to do it, getting mixed up, that's another one. If you're new, this is your first couple times you're checking out the show, welcome. Here, have a seat in this nice, convenient, safe place, or stand if you prefer. And cross your arms, uncross them, whatever it is. Roll your shoulders if you wish. That's what I'm doing that. Probably not the best during a meet and greet like we're having here. But this is more like a greet and greet. Great. I wish great rhymed with greet, because it'll be convenient right this second. But let me tell you, it's great to greet you, new listener. That's what I meant to say. Welcome to Sleep With Me. Podcast's a little bit different. So if you're new, I'm going to try to set you up here. But when I try to do that, I go off topic. So don't try to pay too close attention. Most regular listeners, which is probably like 150,000 people, listen multiple times a week. Say it took 2 or 3 tries. So it took those, then there's other people that listen occasionally. So give it a few tries, see if it helps. But if you try to concentrate, you're welcome to concentrate as much as you want. That's why I'm saying it's great to greet you. What about, have I ever told you about the story about the greatest greeter ever? Maybe I could tell you that at some point soon. That might even be tonight's bedtime story, but, I am not the greatest greeter ever, but it's great. What I was saying is it's so great to greet you. But don't try. You can concentrate on this podcast, so it's more something you kind of consume loosely, somewhere between background noise and a friend who you're trying to follow their story, but only for the key points. But they add way more than the key points. you say, how'd it go with that meeting? And they say, oh, the meeting this morning? Oh, boy. Well, let me tell you about breakfast first. And you're like, well, I just wanted to know how it went in the meeting, good or bad. But you can't really say that because you're friends. So you say, okay, oh, wow, frosted flakes, eh? Oh, the frosting was off on your frosted flakes. Oh, you only have that was frosted flake day. Oh, and it reminds you of snowflake. Okay. What about, and then maybe you try to interject. You say, well, that's just the meeting, though. Oh, yeah, I'm getting to the meeting. But, yeah, then I may put them in a bowl. But then I went in another room because I heard the TV was on. I forgot to turn off the TV. And then I said, watched a report that said smiling increases your likelihood to smile by 100%. And I wondered I said, that's new. That's good news, I guess. Is that good news or is that a joke? And then I shut it off. Oh, the meeting, though. Yeah, you were wondering about the meeting at work because then then I drove my car into work and parked as I normally do. I do the carpool with everybody in the carpool except Jacob that day. Jacob was working remotely. And I said, remote, your home, we live in an urban area. It's not remote. You're in a very apartment building, Jacob. I'd say if you were on a tundra, that's working remotely. So I don't know if you have any friends like that, but that's what I tend to be like. I just gave you a little sampling. Oh, so I was going to say, don't try to pay too close attention. And so that's one thing. I was trying to be concise right up front. Here's the structure of the show. That's one thing. So it starts off with a few minutes of business. That's how we keep it podcast free. Make it twice a week. So there's that. What else was I going to say? I'm already mixed up. So it starts off with business. Then there's an intro. Intro's a little bit different because usually intros you say, well, what does it take? 30 minutes, 30 seconds, 1 minute to intro a podcast? Unless it's a really high concept. And I say, well, mine's more of a concept where it seems like somebody's high, not me. And I don't think I'm high-minded. I mean, my brain probably has gotten too much altitude. What was I going to say? So the intros, they take around 12 minutes. But it's a show within a show. Trust me, if you stick around and get to know it, you'll know, hey, I love the intro, or I might want to skip the intro. Or like a lot of people, you'll use the intro as the start to your wind down routine. You brush your teeth. Maybe you'll put your socks on, take your socks off, put on your PJs, whatever it is that works. Bring your pets, or like me, Koa, my dog. What she likes to do, she has her dog bed, and usually I let her go to the restroom outside, and then in the great natural restroom. And then she comes in, and I say, ready for bed? And then she'll get in bed, and then I'll put a blanket on her and tuck her in. That's part of my wind down. That's her wind down routine, real quick. Oh, but so the intro is like a bit of meandering of me just trying to describe the podcast. It's a microcosm, I think, of the podcast. So it takes a while, but it's part of the show, and it's part of the method. But you can skip it if you need to. And to skip right to the story, maybe the greatest greeter. I don't know if that'll be a story we tell because I haven't told it yet. But I'm glad you're here. That's the one thing. So that's the structure of the show. So there's the intro, then a little business, then the bedtime story part, which could be just about anything. And then the thank yous. And there's no pressure for you to listen or to fall asleep. You don't have to pay attention to me. I hope I can be just interesting enough to take your mind off stuff, but meandering and harebrained is the way I've been described. And I say harebrained like H-A-I-R or H-A-R-E, because I'll agree with you either way. I'm just wondering, just so I can wrap my brain around it, if I'm harebrained. I got to wrap my brain and my mind around this whole harebrained thing. And that's two different things to wrap my mind around, it being, hair or hair. And if it's H-A-R-E, I got to probably go run after. I got to say, well, I got to go catch that harebrain of mine. So that's the structure of the show. No pressure to listen, no pressure to fall asleep. I'm going to be here for an hour, whether you're awake or asleep. And the thing is, I make this show all the way to the end because I know there's a small portion of listeners that are here all the way to the end, or people that are temporarily, really up. And I'm here to keep you company. Whether you're awake or asleep, I'm here to be at your bedside, trying to comfort you, trying to be your friend, your boyfriend, with friendly banter, as they said. I'm not here to be the greatest greeter of all time. I'm just here to be, you say, well, that was a pretty good greeting you did, Scoots. It was 12 minutes. You could have said, welcome to the store. And they said, well, yeah, they said, can you hand in your smock or whatever? And they said, well, I really like this smock. And they said, well, we don't have, actually, our greeters are paid anyway. You can't be a voluntary greeter. And I said, well, this is a homemade smock. Actually, I own it. So you can't take it back. And they said, well, actually, we own that branding. So technically, and I said, oh boy. I didn't think but that's a tale for another day, never to be told, except, to the superior, whatever, when they call me up. And, what was I saying? I'm here to keep you company, to be your friend. So it's a structure show, no pressure to fall asleep, no pressure to listen. I make this show because I've been there. This week, to be honest, I've really been baffled around my own sleeping, particularly last night. I had one of those moments, not a super intense moment, but where I didn't want to know. It was too dark. I was wide awake. I woke up. I wasn't sleeping good. Woke up. And I didn't even want to know what time it was, unless I said, well, I know it's not raining. I said, maybe the sun's behind 50 clouds. But I said, it's so dark that I really don't want to know what time it is, because now I'm debating, should I just get up? I was just awake. And I said, well, what in the heck? I mean, I knew I was awake. I said, well, I got a lot on my mind and stuff. But that's why I make this show, is because it'd be nice. I thought when I first, I said, if there was someone there to say, hey, it looks like you can't sleep, I'll check what time it is. I won't even tell you. I won't even show you any body language so you could guess. But I'll tell you about the tale of the time I went to buy a clock and I met the greatest greeter. Instead, because I'll be here, because I know you're having trouble. It looks like the stuff you had. I saw you tossing and turning there. Let me tuck you in just like you tuck in your puppy dog, Ko-Poo. And let me say I'm here to help, and I'm here to take your mind off of the fact that you don't want to know what time it is, or you don't want to think about that stuff. I'm going to be here to tell you, because I was going to get a clock, and that person won't be, that imaginary person within my brain won't be telling you the story about the greatest greeter, but I will be. So I make the show because I've been there and I know how it feels, and I really truly believe you deserve a good night's sleep. I work very, very hard on the show because I'd like to help you. I yearn and I strive to help you fall asleep. Thanks for giving me your time. And here's a couple of ways we keep the show going. Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it the bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether it's thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, changes in time or temperature, whatever it is that's keeping you awake. Stuff you're thinking about, stuff you're feeling, stuff you're experiencing, or travel, or whatever's keeping you awake. I'd like to take your mind off of that. Repetitive podcast introductions. I'd also like to keep you company. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous dialogue, and talking, lots of talking, tangents upon tangents. So tangential, you forget what I was, so forget, tangerine tangents, that's a new thing I'm working on. Tangerine infused tangents with that citrus flavor, sweet, sweet, sweet tangerine tangents. Maybe that could be another name if I get it, if I became like if I was in a showgirl outfit, I would like to be Tangerine Tangent. And they could, say now, next up is, maybe people would meet me and they'd see me with, with the whole, the legs and the things and the feathers, the thing behind you that, fans or whatever. And they said, well, what kind of dancing do you do? And I said, well, I'm a Tangerine Tangent, by the way, nice to meet you. And I'd say, well, by the way, but speaking of dancing, I don't do it exactly what you'd call a dance. It's more of a routine. And then I'd go off just like this. And maybe I could eventually, just I don't know if I'm being into the high kicking and that kind of thing. And I've talked about this before. The few dancing instructions I found, or even, dancing instruction. This is what I've heard from dancing instructors, Pilates instructor, yoga instructor. It's been a while since I've done any of those, but in all of those, they said, well, you got to move your hips. And I'd try, and I'd say, and they'd say, no, roll your hips. Okay, just shake your hips. And I'd say, my mind-body connection with my hips is, it's not, at this point, I haven't developed it. Every once in a while, I'd give one, they say, well, pretend your spine's like a string of pearls and lower your lower back. I could get that one down. But I think that's my pelvis. And as far as I know, my pelvis and my hips may be two different things. They may be connected or interconnected. And also, my hips is a place for me, or my dancing partners. But, I guess in that kind of situation, the instructor says, well, let me show you. Can I touch your hip? And I said, no. I get giggly. You can't touch my hips. I think in a dancing instruction, they usually just will do they say, okay, what about this? This is your hip here. And then I would go, googly goo. Because my hips, I say, well, yeah, you can't. And they'd say, then I guess that would contradict myself, though. Maybe that's what they were doing. I just didn't realize it. They say, see, you can feel your hips. I'd say feeling them and jerking them because they're ticklish and moving them with instruction of my mind are much different things. That could be the hip conundrum. Did Agatha Christie already write that one? Is there anyone right? This is not a joke. And also, if it's not a joke, I'm calling dibs on this. What about retirement home, retirement community mysteries, the hip conundrum? Maybe that'll be for my next series. Okay, I'm already going to do it. I'm moving forward with that idea. I think that, well, anyway, I'm in a bit of a tangerine tangent, so I need to pull myself back here and find her within me. Get to the center of my outfit here. But yeah, that'll be for our next series. That's a perfect setting. Where was I? Oh, if you're a new listener here, welcome. Sorry about that. Went on some early tangents. What can you do when your inner showgirl awakens? You must respond to her call. Where was I? So if you're new, here's a couple of things to expect. Tangents, whether they're tangerine tangents or superfluous ones, they'll be there. Structurally, what the show starts off with a few minutes of business, then we have an intro. Intro's around 12 minutes. I think we're already 7 minutes into this one. Then there's a show. Oh, there's an intro, then a little business, and then we'll be talking about The Good Place, season 3, episode 6, I believe. Ballad of Donkey Doug. Maybe the best title of The Good Place episode ever. And hopefully it'll be an album release from I don't know who, old 97s, who is Willie Nelson maybe? I don't know. So part of my brain just yelled out in the background. Some peanut gallery brain just said Don Knotts. And I said, no, Don Knotts. I don't know, if Don Knotts is still with us. Probably, I'm just guessing, maybe he's in the big farm. But I don't think Don Knotts is going to be singing the Ballad of Donkey Doug. Though you could be like a modern day Don Knotts. I think Donkey Dog actually is a modern day Don Knotts, or Jason and Donkey Dog are. Okay, where was I? So, okay, I was trying to explain the structure of the show. We'll be talking about The Good Place. It will be kind of analyzing in an indirect way. There will be spoilers because I'll be kind of barely talking about the plot and stuff. And then after that, I'll talk about some specific subjects that came up and do some research. Yeah, but it'll be pretty indirect and calming and bedtime story-like. So that'll be that part. What else? Then there'll be some thank yous at the end. That's the structure show. Also, if you're new, you don't need to listen to this show. Podcast you don't need to pay attention to. You can, but you don't need to. I'll be here just to take your mind off stuff and to keep you company. But there's also no pressure to fall asleep. If you can't, like, fall asleep whenever you do, listen to me at whatever volume or paying attention level you want. But obviously, if you were listening, you heard about those multiple. You say, well, he says he's a dancer named Tangerine Tangent. First question is, do I have a tangerine scent on? Of course. And I would say my outfit is tangerine. It has hints of tangerine to be subtle, and also like rindy rhinestones. I wonder if anybody ever said that. I'm the rhinestone cowboy. Rhinestones? No, rhinestones. I actually dry out rinds of tangerines and other citruses, and then make those into a rhinestone-like thing out of the rinds. They're not shiny, obviously, and they're pretty tough. That's why I'm tough. I'm the rhinestone cowboy. And this is also another part of my being. Tangerine, who was I? Tangerine Cafe? No, that's a restaurant. Tangerine Tan, The Adventures of Tangerine Tangent and the Rhinestone Cowboy. Coming soon. Nowhere. Okay, where was it? Oh, structure show. That's a structure show. You don't need to listen. No pressure to fall asleep. I'm going to be here about an hour. If you can't sleep, I'll be here till the very end to keep you company. Because that's what I do. I'm here to help you fall asleep, to be your friend as you drift off. So that's the structure of the show. And I think that's kind of it. Give it a few tries. That's what most listeners say. They say on the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth try, Scoots made less and less sense, and I realized that that's who Scoots is. He's our boar friend, our boar bud, our boar bay, our boar cuz, our boar sib, our boar bruh. He's Tangerine Tangent and the Rhinestone Cowboy. He's the, what did I say? The sentient hip, the hip that, what would I say? The hip that didn't dance? Whatever it was, he's also that, the hip that missed dancing. Maybe it could be a series. The pelvic floor that was a dance floor. That sounds strange, but it just popped in my brain. So what can I say? So whether you know who Don Knotts is or you don't know, or you say, well, I don't even watch The Good Place, it'll still put you to sleep. It'll still be here to keep you company with some friendly banter. And here's a couple other things. I really appreciate you coming by. And I really strive and I yearn to help you fall asleep. I'm going to work very hard. I'm going to be here. So thanks again for checking out the show. And here's a couple of ways we keep the show a-going.